just heard La Battaglia. La Battaglia is a piece written by one of the long stream of innovative Italian composers. This work's composer, Adriano Banchieri, was a church musician who lived at the end of the 16th century. He and his contemporaries, Gabriel, Isaac, and Deci, were among the first composers to specify that music should be played loudly and softly at particular moments. This breakthrough, along with the use of stronger harmonic progressions, helped to usher in the ideals of the Baroque period of music, the time in which our next composer, J.S. Bach, flourished. Bach's Art of the Fugue is the final contrapuntal work of the greatest contrapuntalist in history, and takes its place among the great works of the late Baroque. The entire work consists of 15 fugues plus 4 canons, the first of which you will hear this afternoon. Although Bach did not live to finish the Art of the Fugue, part of it was engraved under his supervision before his death, and then published by Bach's sons a year later. There was little response, and it wasn't until 1802, when a new collection was published, that the work began to be generally known, belatedly setting out to become what is today recognized as the consummate effort in the long history of the fugue. Bach had given no indication of instruments to be used in the performance of the Art of the Fugue. Consequently, the use of brass is an editorial suggestion. 15 years of service as music minister, worship leader, and composer in residence at Shady Grove Church in Grand Prairie, Texas, honored composer and conductor David R. Holsinger is now on the School of Music faculty at Lee University in Cleveland, Texas, and conducts the Lee University Wind Ensemble. He helped form the music composition department and composition degree programs of the university. Philip P. Bliss was a prolific writer of gospel songs throughout his brief lifetime of 38 years. In most cases, he wrote both the words and music for his hymns, which were characterized by their strong emotional appeal, with tunes that were easily learned and sung. However, in the case of It Is Well With My Soul, Bliss was so impressed with the experience and expression of the hymn text by Horatio Spafford that he wrote music for it. It seems that Spafford had planned a European trip for his family in 1873 to assist the evangelist Dwight L. Moody in Great Britain. Due to unexpected last-minute business developments, he had to stay behind, but sent his wife and 4 daughters on ahead as scheduled, expecting to follow in a few days. On November 22nd, their ship was struck by an English vessel and soon sank. Several days later, the survivors were finally landed at Cardiff, Wales, and Mrs. Spafford cabled her husband, saved alone. Shortly afterwards, Spafford left by ship to join his bereaved wife. It is thought that on the sea, near the area where his 4 daughters were drowned, Spafford penned this text, whose words so significantly describe his own personal grief. It is noteworthy, however, that Spafford's hymn does not dwell on the theme of life's sorrows and trials, but in subsequent verses focuses on the redemptive work of Christ and anticipates his glorious second coming. When peace, like a river, attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Now, on a hymn song, Philip Bliss, by David R. Holsinger. Francis Poulenc had his first taste of success as an 18-year-old composer without a single composition lesson. Despite some study, he remained largely self-taught. His music is eminently tuneful, which is his major strength, but like the sophisticated eccentric that he was, his eccentricity, not surprisingly, shows up in his music. One can identify a Poulenc composition immediately by its use of strong, clear rhythms and novel diatonic harmonies. He wrote in many mediums and excelled in chamber music. His series of wind sonatas are all repertory classics. Today, you will hear the first movement of his sonata for horn, trumpet, and trombone, composed when he was 23 years old. The performers are Sandra Baxter on horn, John Brandier, trumpet, and Peter Denon on trombone. The sonata for horn, trumpet, and trombone by Francis Poulenc. In 1721, Bach married his second wife, Anna Magdalena. She was a professional singer, and Bach proceeded to teach her the playing of keyboard instruments. In the following year, he compiled for her a collection of simple pieces. Some of these had words, and among them is "If thou be near," or "Bist du bei mir." The concern of the words with death, though strange by today's standards, is addressed by a husband of 37 to a wife of 22. In fact, represents a strong vein of thought in the text Bach liked to set. Modern English versions sometimes gloss over such things. The following translation is faithful to the original of the unknown German poet. If thou be near, go I with gladness to death and to eternal peace. Oh, how content were thus my ending, if thy dear hands were laid upon me and gently closed my faithful eyes. Now, Bach's compositions generally can be successfully played on a vast array of instruments and in arrangements the composer never imagined. Bist du bei mir is no exception. One can find solo and ensemble arrangements for many instruments, for every singing voice and for groups of voices. It is sung in the authentic Baroque manner and in downright jazzy a cappella arrangements such as Ward Swingle has made for his Swingle singers. The piece remains so popular because of its hauntingly beautiful melody and its memorable words. If thou be near. visitors generally declare that the cathedrals... I'm out.
Sorry about that. Thank you all for coming this afternoon to the second annual brass concert here at Bethel Lutheran Church. I'm Paul Bach, I'm the president of the congregation here. And I just want to share with you that the offering today will be matched by the AAL, which is the Aid Association for Lutherans. And this time, I'd like to introduce Marilyn Edwards, who is the director of Middleburg Early Education Center. And she's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Thank you all for the beautiful, beautiful music. This is wonderful. On the back of your program is some information about Middleburg Early Education Center, and I've been asked to add to that. If you are here during the week between approximately 9 o'clock and 2:30, the place is buzzing. You will see typical preschool children having a wonderful time, doing activities to develop social skills, motor skills, language skills, all the things that get them ready for kindergarten. In the classrooms with those typical children, you will also see children who have special needs. You'll see them interacting with the typical children, sometimes pulled aside for some early intervention and special help. The conference rooms down the hall are filled with speech therapists and occupational therapists doing one-on-one individualized therapy for children with special needs. The stage area is full of parents usually, often parents of children with special needs who are sharing stories about caring for their special children, sharing resources, ideas for helping them reach their full potential. The fellowship hall is filled with children doing music and motor activities. This particular offering today is for the scholarship fund. The reason we need a scholarship fund, as you know, special education is costly. To provide experienced, well-trained people to provide the early intervention and therapies that children with special needs need and deserve. The Board of Trustees, many of whom are here, all members of Bethel Lutheran Church, screen applicants carefully. All scholarships are need-based. They go to parents of children with special needs to provide the therapies and early intervention that their children need. Often, these parents are frantic to do everything possible, especially in these very early years, to help their children reach their full potential. Mothers usually cannot work because of the specialized care needed by their children. They are not children that can be just dropped off at a daycare center. Many of these families face staggering medical bills. Insurance covers some things, it usually doesn't cover everything. And when there are children, children have a variety of difficulties. Some simple language delays, they have ear infections, and a few months of therapy and early intervention gets them where they need to be. Some children have more serious disorders, autism, Down syndrome, children who will need ongoing help. Some of them have had multiple surgeries by the age of 3, MRIs, really costly procedures. And all the scholarships then are need-based. For those of you who like numbers, just over 90 children around here is a full house. We have a full house with a waiting list. Last May, we had a large graduating class. We graduated 40 children. 16 of those children were typical from day one, needed no help, and were wonderful role models for other children, and just had a wonderful time and received a regular education. 11 of those 40 graduates came to Middleburg Early Education Center with special needs and graduated needing no special help. They were right up to where they should be, age level in every way, and in the kindergarten needing no special services. 13 of those graduates will need ongoing help, are receiving that help now. And before, and we're beginning this process now, before they transitioned from Middleburg Early Education Center into, in most cases, the public school system. We met with their teachers and therapists, had testing done, and so the services were ongoing. There was no interruption in the services that the children would need. So that's what we're about. We're about children who are typical in every way, children who, with a little special attention, can become typical in every way, and also about children who will need ongoing help right through their school years. Just a note that was received on graduation day from a family who started their little girl here at age 2. Thank you to the scholarship community at Bethel Church for making it possible for our daughter to experience 4 wonderful years at Middleburg Early Education Center. We love her so much. We knew she was safe and loved here. And that's the kind of families that get special help.